Recently, after staring at my upload schedule and realizing that I had jack shit for October, I scoured through my Steam library hoping to find something that was interesting enough for a video. That was when I stumbled upon this title, one that could best be described as if Mario Kart actually went to fucking space, complete with unique power-ups that are actually real-life weapons ripped straight from the stockpile of guns left over after FPS Russia ascended from this earth, along with a vehicle set that makes me wonder if they just ripped this shit from NASA themselves, either that or F-Zero. I'm not sure which one, to be honest. This is the story of a racing game that I've never heard of, and one that you probably haven't heard of either. So strap in as I tell you about this unique little title, and tell you why you should give it a try. Just whatever you do, don't smoke it. Grip is not good for you kids. It's only good for a bit of laughter, and that's it. Or maybe getting a grip that you suck dick. That too. Releasing in November of 2018 on several different platforms, Grip, or its full name, Grip Combat Racing, was developed by Canadian studio Caged Element and was published by Wired Productions. And given that this was Caged Element's first major title, there was a lot riding on it. Did they do well on their first attempt? I think it's time we find out. So let's get into the gameplay overview of Grip and touch on what makes this game stand out among other racers in the market, which is going to be quite the challenge because last I checked, every racing game is basically the same. It's like trying to pick out a non-blonde girl in a group of Karens. Being in its name, Grip is a combat-oriented racer, basically meaning that it's racing mixed with all of your angry wives coming to kill you. And they're going to be doing this thanks to the host of weapons and vehicles at their disposal. Let's start with the weapons, or pickups. These function much like items from Mario Kart, each having their own unique effects. The Painkiller is not actually a bottle of Advil, but it is a rear bumper sticker to make sure you don't get hit in the ass by Kim Jong-un's missiles. The Assassin functions just like the blue shell from Mario Kart, targeting the first place player and blowing them up. If you wanted to experience a rage room in your own bedroom, then this is how you're gonna do it. The Disruptor will slow down vehicles in front of you. It will force players behind you to speed up. So if you're in last place, then this shit is goated. The EMP is what I use whenever I need to administer a deletion of my browsing history after every girl at my place of work found it. This AoE ability will slow you down and will weaken your steering for a short period of time. This originally used to be its own item. However, after being removed, it was slowly rolled into several different weapons as a bonus ability. Firestorm is not to be confused with a date night gone wrong. It's actually a speed boost. Use it wisely though, because it's probably going to send you to the deepest reaches of outer space if you're not careful. The Hydra is a barrel roll of missiles that fly straight from your car. They are mini rockets though, so I'm not really sure why they're fucking midgets and are cringe, but hey, I guess this was a cost of development, of the developers not wanting to be cool. The Quaker is another ability that was removed from the game entirely, but I'm still going to touch on it anyway. It was a simple ground mine that had proximity sensors, and when a player drove near it, it would explode and rip the bottom out of any vehicle that is trailing you. It's a shame that this ability was removed, because I'd like to think that the explosion was big enough to send me straight into Mars's anus. The Ram Raider, otherwise known as the objectives of Joe Biden, is a big blast of energy that shoots straight in front of you, knocking your closest enemies into fucking Nipton. I'm not really sure why you'd call it a Ram Raider if you aren't physically ramming anything, but hey, your girlfriend said that last night and yet here you are. The Raptor is just a fucking machine gun. Like, not even kidding. It's like you took the turret gun from Left 4 Dead 2 and shot it to your fucking car, but you took off the part where it overheats, because it doesn't do that. This will send your enemies spinning off the track as if you popped their tires, which is actually a funny concept. Yeah, sorry babe, I gotta go. Some dipshit is trying to shoot my tires out in the middle of fucking space. The Scorpion missile is a simple homing missile that can lock onto vehicles and even objects on the track. So if for some reason you don't want to hit a player, you can hit a barrel instead. I'm sure that's going to do something. And finally is the Spearhead, which fires a magnetic bomb that will explode after a few seconds, spinning your car out of control. All of these power-ups can be picked up as you race, and you could hold up to 2 power-ups at any given time, much like games like Mario Kart Double Dash or Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. In addition to these power-ups, we gotta talk about your vehicles. There are a few different classes of vehicles that you can race with. This includes Speedsters, which are the lightweight vehicles in this game and have high acceleration and agility, but have lower top speeds. Aggressors are your all-around average vehicle that is good at pretty much anything and provides a great balance of top speed, acceleration, agility, and grip. And finally, we have Tanks, which have the highest top speed out of any of the cars in the game, with their weaknesses mostly relying on low grip and low initial acceleration. And as for your car manufacturers, since they'd get DMCA'd otherwise, you got brands like Terra, Pariah, or my personal favorite, the fucking DeLorean Motor Company. What's next? If I go 88 miles an hour, I'll teleport to another dimension and get the greatest thing ever? A social life? Each manufacturer has one of each type of vehicle class in their arsenal, so there's plenty of wiggle room as to what you want to race. There is also a host of game modes that you can take part in. Unfortunately, I can't really show you any multiplayer footage because the servers just don't exist. I can't say that I expected this, given that this game is 6 years old. Classic Race is your standard racing game mode that allows players to use power-ups on whatever vehicles they want to get to the finish line in first first place. Ultimate Race is very similar, but instead you'll earn points that will increase by attacking your opponents, and whoever has the highest score at the end of the race wins. Elimination Race is another simple game mode that puts the pressure on last place, as the last place player will be eliminated once every 30 seconds, until only one player remains. Speed Demon is a basic bare-bones version of Classic Race. There are no power-ups and no weapons. It's just you, your opponents, and raw speed, to see who can get to the finish line first. Time Trials is exactly what it sounds like, allowing you to see how fast you can go around the game's many tracks without having any interference. The arena is much like a demolition derby if it was set in Cletus McFarlane's backyard. There are tracks that are unique to this mode, which is really cool, and it's a classic beat-em-up throwdown to see who can survive the longest. And lastly is Carcour, a parkour-like game mode that forces the player to traverse various obstacle courses aiming to reach the finish line. You know, this game mode kinda reminds me of what it's like trying to get a girlfriend. It's an obstacle course that you're going to lose at, like, really fucking hard, and when you fall to the ground, it's gonna feel like you just fell after playing 14 hours of Only Up. Now with the gameplay all tied up, I think it's time we touch on the world of Grip. This isn't going to be a very long segment, mostly because there isn't exactly too much to talk about, but because I tend to be a bit of a funny dude, I'll try and keep it decent enough for you. The world of Grip is divided into 4 distinct planets, each having their own unique looks and feel, as well as their own track selection of roughly 6 to 8 tracks each, which is basically me saying that each of these planets is representative of a female, meaning that I'm going to reference these planets as fucking women, so don't get mad at me for it. Chatra! Welcome to what is basically just Mars. Who can forget tracks like the Alhatra Wastes, which is basically just the Martians being like, what if we just turned our own planet into a racetrack without bothering to consider that we have way too many buildings in the damn way? Yuri Industrial is going to show you that tunnel anal torture straight up sucks dick. With tracks labeled easy, normal, and hard, and this one being one of the hard ones, yeah, I'd expect it to punch me in the balls. My favorite part was when I got fucking anal blasted by God's piss laser straight into the spine. What about Rust? No, not the game Rust, you sick fuck. The map that continues to prove that yes, we're on fucking Mars. Oh, don't forget Impact, by the way. You know, the impact that I'm about to leave on your girlfriend later tonight. It's also in space, so you're not going to hear her scream for when activities occur. Watch out for the jump that will make you go sideways. Hopefully you didn't bring an ice cream cone with you, otherwise it's going to get all over you and every girl you know is going to question why you just in your fucking racing suit. Altogether, this planet is just fucking Mars. So I would say that Jatra is the kind of girl that likes a little bit of mayhem, but is calm, cold, and reserved. These tracks don't feel difficult, but present some challenge, which I like. That doesn't mean that she's going to try and kick you in the balls every once in a while. She definitely will. Lido 5! Guys, I'm starting to think that I've just been transported to another world. And by that I mean I'm on fucking Planet Wisp. Holy shit, I just experienced what being isekai is like. I'm so fucked. I hope you liked looking at a planet that is so green that no gamer can say that they can't touch grass. My brother in Christ, it's fucking everywhere. I sure do love the tunnels of the transport station. It really makes me experience what the anal cavity feels like. We can't forget the NASCAR track too, where you're going to be turning left for the next 5 minutes straight. If you happen to turn right, you're gonna send it into a wall like you're a Mustang driver. And no one likes that. Spin Cycle feels like a makeshift version of the transport station, but if they decided to sprinkle some color into the track to make it look like it was Maple Treeway. I can really see why they named it Spin Cycle. They're replicating what the Japanese did to their mountains, that being digging straight through them to make tunnels and forcing you to never see the sun because you're a vampire. My favorite is The Plunge, in which you descend into God's evil lair known as a fucking toilet, whilst the life of the sea swims around you questioning how a fucking automobile just got into their home. This shit just feels like it's Chemical Plant from Sonic 2 if it was actually realistic. So this planet has a shit ton of tunnels, is very green, and replicates Earth in a lot of ways. So let's say Little 5 is the kind of girl that is simple. She likes her looks, and she isn't afraid to take you into her fun pit and show you what it's like to have a good time. She'll give you some challenge though, so don't let your guard down. Norvos! Welcome to the fucking ice level from Sonic Unleashed. I'm dead serious, it legit looks the exact same except if Sonic slowed down for more than 3 seconds and stopped running from his first world problems. Arriving at the Fick outpost, there's so much snow that it makes me wonder if I'm at Santa's workshop. A lot more open land to drive on this time though, but there's a lot of jumps that are going to spin you around faster than any woman has slapped your face. Lit, yep, this literally fucking lit, is a perfect way to describe the level that is filled with lava. It's fucking lit, bro, what can I say? It's a pretty fun track though, combined with its tunnels that are so small, this is probably what the internet means when it says, it's so tight. Just don't fall into lava though, otherwise you're in for a bad time. Jackna, whatever this is, feels like it's a mislabeled version of Rainbow Road. Either that or that one F-Zero track. I ended up restarting multiple times in this race. The first time was when I got hit with the missile and fell on the roof, and proceeded to fall backwards down the track with no form of gravity. Then I restarted again after realizing that I completely missed the damn checkpoint. So what that actually meant is that we're done with this damn planet. This place is giving off the vibe that's trying to kill you. So Norvos is the kind of girl that is currently going through her emo phase. She probably wants to kill herself, and she does a bit of drinking. She's very cold inside, and is more than happy to hurt you when you mess up just a little bit. Gee, that sounds like Rainy. Orbital Prime! For a planet that can best be described as where the humans live, the name Orbital Prime sounds like a Transformers name that was removed from the cast list. There are some dope tracks though, like Haze, which is in the city center with some orange haze everywhere. It kinda gives off the vibe that the city is abandoned to some extent, giving this place a bit more excitement that it otherwise lacks. The track has long sweeping corners and big straights, making for some great racing. And of course, this city has to look like it was ripped straight from Cyberpunk 2077. But this game came out 2 years before Cyberpunk did, so this joke doesn't work. Atlas Station is by far one of my favorite tracks in this game. I love the visuals that this track puts down. We're not just in space, but we're racing between rockets, hovering above the planet on a massive space station. It goes to show that this game's beauty is up there with some big names. Altogether though, this planet is just filled with city races set in the sprawling cities on Orbital Prime, meaning that this planet represents your typical city girl. She's fun, wacky, and down to earth, and she has charm to her. Yet, there is a sense of mystery and wonder that can both make you excited, but also scared. That's also rather funny. That sounds like Maya. Altogether, that covers the world of Grip. There isn't too much here outside of the tracks that you can race on. Whether that's lush green hills and beautiful waterways, to planets that look like barren deserts devoid of life, some that are made of literal ice and lava that makes you question what the laws of physics are, and one that replicates Lower Manhattan, as well as a cool remake of Rainbow Road. There's loads of fun places to explore and dominate in this title. But before we go, I think it's only fair that we need to do something.
What's that, Panda?
Oh, my dear viewer, you know exactly what it is.
3, 2, 1, go! Oh, shit!
Finally awake. God damn it!
Oh, you got to be fucking with me! Gotcha, bitch!
Are you kidding me?
Fuck! Whee! Whee!
Now, however, I want to touch on some of the smaller things that annoy me with this title. There isn't actually that much to talk about, so let's now touch on the good and bad of Grip. Since there isn't too much that I want to touch on that's bad, let's touch on some of the good points first. I mentioned it a moment ago that this game looks visually impressive. For a game that's running on Unreal Engine 4, I came into this expecting a fairly decent showing, but Caged Element did a pretty damn good job for their first title, showing what they can do with graphics pretty well. What I do like though is that it's not over the top. It's simple and everything looks good, but there is detail in a number of different locations and models. It doesn't feel like it's some masterclass piece of art from a AAA studio. For an indie title, this is great, and I would love to see this expanded upon in the future. The car selection is pretty healthy, providing a great field of options for any player with multiple vehicles to choose from for each vehicle class. Customization is also very good too, feeling a lot like Need for Speed in some areas. And while the multiplayer didn't quite work for me, I've heard that it's a fucking blast, and it's what makes this game such a treat to play. I also love the variety of game modes, allowing players of any playstyle to enjoy the game in a way that they want to. It's cool, and I really hope that other racing titles can also implement multiple different game modes into their games as well. Now though, let's touch on the two main issues that I encountered with this title. The first is the AI. I found that the AI has a tendency to be both unfair and fucking retarded. They kind of feel like Mario Kart AIs to some extent. They're smart enough to do clever last-minute attacks and maneuvers to win in the race, but also be dumb enough to never try to attack you when they very much should be. Now, this is something something that I didn't really find to be too much of a problem, as I like there to be a bit of a challenge with any racing game to force me to know these tracks and play well. But to some, I can understand the criticism. The big one for me, however, is the physics. Now, the developers probably didn't make this call, but if you play this game, you'll come to find that the physics feel very rubbery. Things like hitting a wall, the edge of a corner, bouncing around after getting hit by something. Pretty much almost anything that you can hit or move your car in some kind of fashion is enough to send your car into a spin or flying through the air. Now, I have two arguments to back this up. One is that it's in this game's nature to be fairly chaotic, meaning that stuff like this should kind of be expected given the image that this game is trying to present. And two, we're in fucking space. The idea of low gravity and crazy vehicle physics sort of makes sense when you factor in this game's setting. Yes, this could be argued against given that you're on planets which probably have their own gravity, but still, I don't really have a major problem with the physics of this title, but quite a large amount of people do, which I find rather shocking given it kind of makes sense given where and when this game is taking place. Overall, Grip is an awesome indie title that takes Mario Kart and turns it into a destructive, chaotic, and downright explosive racer. Whether this be from the vast worlds that you can venture to and race your opponents on across the galaxy, aiming to shoot them down with missiles, machine guns, and bombs, aiming to take the win in the grayest race in all of outer space, or with its slew of game modes, car customization, and races to play. Grip Combat Racing is a game that's fun to play any time of the week. If you're looking for a fantastic time playing with a small indie title, either by yourself or with a friend, then this is the game for you. It's available right now on Steam. I urge you to pick it up and give it a shot. This is an underground game that is surprisingly good and really fun, and I can't wait to see what's next for its developer with its future projects. Anyways, my name is PandaPowerSauce, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye!